Yeah, I can hear you. Coming up on NEC-TV, NEC becomes the only Purple Heart College in the Northeast. Our Lauren Hall brings us to the emotional tribute to those who serve the country and explains what it means for Purple Heart recipients looking to come to campus. And the Henniker Food Pantry tells us about an increase in need during the government shutdown, what you can do to help. Plus, a student at NEC answers the call for stem cell donations. Hear about his motivation and upcoming procedure that will help save a life. All that and more coming up on NEC-TV. Good afternoon, and thank you for watching NEC-TV. I'm Leah Bowling. Today is Thursday, November 13th, 2025. Now to our top story. Veterans and community members gathered for a special ceremony honoring the college and Purple Heart recipients.
On the eve of Veterans Day, New England College was officially recognized as the first Purple Heart College in New England. These signs are the first of their kind and will be displayed around campus. The ceremony was an emotional event for all Monday, honoring the college for its support of Purple Heart recipients like Michael Martioski, who said he was moved by the NEC community.
Looking around the room and seeing all the folks that were here that have that medal or that related to people that have that medal, it kind of shook me a bit.
NEC President Wayne Lesperance remarked on the sacrifice of family members in the NEC community, including his dad.
We were founded for veterans returning from World War II, and one of the greatest things we can do is acknowledge those who were wounded or killed in combat, and that's what this award does, and we will be reminded forever now because we're part of this very important Purple Heart network.
The Purple Heart designation means that those who have received the award can use the library as well as other services on campus, and are welcomed members of the NEC community. The signs will be displayed around campus and serve as a physical reminder.
We are in the company of heroes, and we really were, and we are. So it's very special for NEC, it's very special for our community. Lots of folks from towns are here today. I'm just so incredibly proud right now.
Representative Maggie Goodlander, a veteran, says this is another step in supporting our veterans.
This great college was born out of the Second World War and a deep commitment to our veterans, and becoming a Purple Heart community today is yet another step. It's a homecoming, and it's also a step towards connecting up with the dozens of Purple Heart communities across New Hampshire.
Organizers say the goal is to establish more Purple Heart colleges around the country. For NEC-TV, I'm Lauren Hall.
After 43 days, the longest government shutdown in the U.S. history is over. On Monday, we spoke with New Hampshire Representative Maggie Goodlander. Goodlander says that now the government is open. She will work to create legislation that she feels will improve the lives of New Hampshire working class. Goodlander also said that President Trump's Big Beautiful Bill is breaking the backs of people who are trying to find affordable health care.
For New Hampshire, it has been nothing but brutal. It has jacked up the already sky-high costs of healthcare for hardworking families, for small businesses, for farmers, and it has really driven critical access hospitals and community health providers on the cusp of going out of business.
Goodlander did not directly comment on Senator Maggie Hassan and Jean Shaheen's vote in the Senate that ultimately led to reopening the government. Food pantries across the country have been dealing with the impacts of the government shutdown and uncertainty of federal food assistance. The government reopening means SNAP benefits are expected to be funded through September 2026. But locally at the Henniker Food Pantry, demand is up. NEC-TV's Sub Subitsky explains how local volunteers are working to keep this community resource operating as usual.
The Henniker Food Pantry provides food to 140 families in Henniker. It is run by volunteers and 100% funded by donations. In the last few weeks, there has been an increase in need. President Debbie Desjardins-Demosky says about 10 more families have been stopping in recently.
A lot of people have been panicking, thinking that the SNAP was going away, and so we've seen people come in that had SNAP and didn't need to come in before, but now do.
Treasurer Bill Sullivan says the number of shoppers vary each week, but the need is consistent.
Sometimes I've been here where we've had 5 people show up, and other times we've had 35 people show up. You never know, and we're only open for an hour, so you never know what to expect.
Volunteers say SNAP benefits and the government shutdown gaining national news coverage have sparked more community support.
It has gotten a little busier in that citizens have been reaching out and asking what they can do to help.
The pantry receives food from local drives, the USDA, and the New Hampshire Food Bank, but their greatest need right now is cash donations.
Because it's better to get the cash in so that we can buy what we know people need.
Donations can be made on the Henniker Town website. If you know someone in need, the pantry is open for a few hours on Mondays and Wednesdays. For NEC-TV, I'm Sub Subitsky.
NEC students and faculty had the day off Tuesday in honor of Veterans Day. In an email from President Wayne Lesperance, he reminds us to take heed to our veterans. As we move through this Veterans Day, let us take a moment to reflect, to thank, and to remember. In doing so, we keep faith with all who have worn the uniform and ensure that the values they defended continue to live here, on campus and in our hearts. Just ahead on NEC-TV, a student at NEC is a perfect match and will donate to help save a life. Hear about his upcoming procedure and message to others. And an alumna is honored for her outstanding achievement working in countries around the world. She joins us in studio. Stay with us, we'll be right back. An NEC student is a perfect match and will soon help save a life. The National Marrow Donor Program held its annual campus event a few weeks ago, but it was a donor from last year who says he didn't think twice about donating his time and stem cells. NEC-TV's Parker Doobie joins us in studio with former Pilgrim athlete and Henniker Town resident Colin Shaw.
You went to the Be the Match event as an athlete in prior years, and you have been selected to head down to New York to participate in stem cell research. So talk to me a little bit about what the decision was to get swabbed originally and go through this process.
I mean, you sit in we sat in Putnam, and they give you the whole speech, and you listen to them, it's not a terrible idea. And they talk about all these other student athletes that have done it, and you're healthy, you get the chance to do it, why not do it? So I swabbed that day, takes 5 minutes, and didn't think really anything of it after that, until now, but.
Yeah, so I heard recently you found out that you had been selected to head down to New York. What was that kind of, was it like a surprise to you that you kind of just heard, oh, I got selected, or is it like you kind of anticipated that this could happen?
So it's actually the second time I've gotten a phone call saying I could be a possible match. And the last time it happened, I didn't get anything afterwards. So I'd gotten a email and a voicemail while I was at work. And then I'd gotten to baseball practice and was changing, and I just checked my phone and read it. I was like, that's odd. Went through practice afterwards, answered back the voicemail. They left a number to text, so I texted the number. Like, yeah, can we actually call you like tomorrow? So they called me and they went through the whole process, and they're like, yeah, you're actually possibly one of the best matches for this person. It's like, okay. And here we are in the process. A lot of phone calls and a lot of testing later, but I ended up being the best match. So off to New York I go.
All right, and NEC's been doing this event for quite a few years. They do it a lot with their athletes, especially, and then they promote it kind of to the rest of the college. But you are the first person from this college to be chosen to go down to New York and potentially do life-saving donation. How does that make you feel? What's the emotion centered around that?
I mean, to me, it doesn't feel that special. It's just I'm doing something good for somebody else, which is kind of the way I was raised, was if you have the means to help, you help. But because NEC is what led me to donating, because I ended up here and was there that day, it is kind of cool. And the people that were there the day that I donated keep checking in on me. Allie Berkmeyer was the one that handed me the test swab when I did it, and she's checked a couple times. And my baseball coach, Terry Doyle, he was the one that had us go to this thing, and he's checked in a couple times, and it's pretty cool. I haven't really thought about it, but now that I think about it, it's kind of cool.
All right, and final question I got for you. Be the Match recently changed to the National Bone Marrow Donor Program. It's a very, very good cause. What do you have to say about donating to the cause and encouraging other people to donate to this cause?
As scary as it sounds to donate it, your stem cells, your bone marrow, you're helping somebody. So the chance to help somebody, if you have the option, you have the ability to, why not? I know people are scared of needles and scared of side effects or whatever, but like to me, muscle pain, soreness, dehydration, like those are all things that I've experienced on a normal Tuesday with playing 2 sports and being a student athlete. So I had the ability to donate, so do a bunch of other people. It's not a bad cause to donate for.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Colin. To hear more about how you can become a donor, we'll have the website right below us. Back to you guys at the desk.
Graduate is the latest winner of the Deborah Spring Reed Outstanding Alumni Achievement Award. Rebecca Brewington was honored last week during the President's Speaker Series. She is a specialist in governance and institutional strengthening. Brewington has over 20 years of experience managing programs in Africa, the Middle East, Europe, and Asia. She says her time at NEC helps her prepare for her career.
When I was at NEC, I loved the learning experience, the dialogues with the professors and other students, but I knew I didn't want to sit in an office and work behind a computer. So to be in a job where I was able to travel a ton and work with different community members and help organizations fulfill their mandates was has been very rewarding. And I think I owe a lot of that to how I learned critical thinking at NEC and a sense of service, things like that.
The Alumni Achievement Award is awarded yearly in honor of the first female alumni to be a chairperson of the New England College Board of Trustees, Deborah Spring Reed. Last week, the Supreme Court ruled against the Trump administration's use of international. In April, Trump imposed worldwide tariffs after declaring the United States' long-standing trade deficits as a national emergency. NEC sophomore Angelina DeVitis is from Canada and says several of her family businesses have been impacted by the tariffs, and some have shut down.
We've been affected pretty hard through like COVID and stuff like that, having to give up on some businesses because they just couldn't pay because of their product goods were going up because of the tariff tax. So because if they keep like doing this, their tariffs are going to go higher and higher, which is going to make it harder for small businesses to occur in Canada, which makes everything else go higher. And
the current tariff rate for goods imported from Canada is 35%. DeVitis hopes the U.S. government and Canada can find common ground soon. Less than 2 weeks until residence halls close for Thanksgiving break. Dorms will close on Tuesday, November 25th at 7 p.m. and will reopen on Sunday, November 30th at 8 a.m. Anyone not pre-approved to stay on campus during that time will be required to leave. Classes will start back up on Monday, December 1st to finish out the remainder of the semester. Email reslife at reslife@nec.edu with any questions. A much-anticipated new restaurant will open its doors in downtown Henniker. What you should know if you're craving barbecue. Plus, several fall sports wrap up the season and hockey hits the ice. Parker Doobie has your weekly sports recap just after the break. A new barbecue restaurant on Main Street in downtown Henniker is planning to open soon. According to Facebook post, Buffalo Boats will be launching a limited menu which will grow weekly. There is no exact opening date yet, but the owners say they will start by serving 11 flavors of wings, fries, chili, and chicken tenders. In September, they posted that the opening was delayed because they needed a new fire alarm system. Pilgrim Athletics had 7 athletes receive honors for the fall season so far. To hear about what they are, let's head to Parker Doobie for the sports recap.
Thanks, Leah. The final fall sports are starting to wrap up and the GNAC honors are starting to be awarded. Starting with volleyball, they split a big tri-match which allowed them into the GNAC playoffs as the 8th seed. They headed to Boston on Tuesday to face 1-seeded Emmanuel College in a game that they fell in 3 sets, ending their season. GNAC honors were given out as 2 field hockey players won major awards and 6 were named to all GNAC teams. Senior defender Martina Hill was named Defensive Player of the Year, and senior goaltender Mackenzie Anderson was named the Goalkeeper of the Year. Both Hill and Anderson were named to the All-First team, with sophomore midfielder Kennedy Overhoff and sophomore forward Kira Geddes. Rounding out honors for the team, Christina Manzi and Lauren Hall were named to the All-Third team. For men's soccer, forward Eddie Neyama was named to the All-GNAC second team. Moving to winter sports, the Pilgrim men's basketball team fell to Plymouth State last Friday before picking up 2 big wins, beating Curry College 91-85, and a big win against Gordon College when Kenray Amatamero hit the game-winning 3 with 5 seconds to go. For the women's team, they dominated Leslie College 75-33 on Saturday before they played Keene State on Tuesday, falling 97. For hockey, the men's team headed to Vermont for a 2-conference game away trip where they fell to Vermont State University Castleton 5-3 and Norwich University 2-0. The Pilgrims moved to 1-2 overall. For the women, they fell in 2 games over the weekend as well, with the University of Southern Maine Huskies taking a 4-0 victory and VTSU Castleton winning 2-1 in overtime. Last but not least, men's wrestling headed to Rhode Island for the Anchorman Invitational, where Patrick Hughes, Michael Folo, and Brandon Lavasta each placed first in their separate classes. Their next match is versus Emmanuel College on Saturday. For the NEC-TV Sports Recap, I'm Parker Doobie.
If you didn't get a chance to see the Northern Lights this week, you missed a spectacular scene in the sky. Take a look at these photos posted by NEC. The Northern Lights were caused by 2 coronal mass ejections from the sun that hit the atmosphere and the magnetic field at the same time. Let's check in now with NEC-TV's Lauren Hall for a look at this week's weather.
Thanks, Leah. As I'm sure you've noticed, temps are starting to drop across New England. As you can see, over the next week or so, we will not be seeing the sun much. It will be pretty cloudy. Temps over the next week will lie around the mid-40s. Today we'll have a high of 45 with a low of 30. Tomorrow, a high of 44 with a low of just 26 degrees. Saturday, a high of 44 and a low of 32. Sunday, a high of 48 and a low of 28. Monday, a high of 38 and a low of 30. Tuesday, a high of 42 and a low of 27. Wednesday, a high of 43 and a low of 27. And Thursday, a high of 44 and a low of 30. That's all for weather this week. Back to Leah at the desk.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at nec.tv for the latest NEC news. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you right back here next week for all things NEC from the only Henniker on Earth.